You're on the road beyond. Welcome. I'm Todd Duplantis. Welcome to the show. Good to have you with us. We're live from the HCC TV studios this morning. My co-host Doug O'Brien.
We did not plan on wearing white coats today. This is a weird situation.
I thought about it. I'm like, he wears a white jacket. I can't do it.
Right. It's too much.
It's like we're twins.
Yeah, I swear to you, we did not coordinate this.
So let me
Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube. You can subscribe as well. The Road Beyond podcast. Today is going to be very interesting. First, rodeo cook-off this weekend.
Yeah, it was nuts. Yeah, that was like a rodeo on there. We could have made a whole episode about that.
Definitely. At our tent, we had the party robot show up. So that it's always an interesting experience.
Party robots are kind of creepy. One of them sang happy birthday to my son yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
we went to a sushi restaurant and the robot, well, he's 35.
The robot or your son?
But my son.
Oh, okay.
The robot, I don't think is that old. Robot looked like maybe 2 or 3. It was a young robot.
It was a weird. So now we got rodeo going on. Yesterday was Texas Independence Day.
Yeah.
And I am a descendant of one of the writers and the oldest signer of the Texas Declaration of Independence, Colin McKinney. Yes. Wow. All right. Yeah. The legacy continues. He formed a nation and a state. And I do this. Yeah. So I'm sure he's in his grave just proud.
He's proud. Yeah, he's proud. Hey, my great nephew or whatever you are.
That's you're correct.
Yeah. Now hosts a phenomenal podcast. So we digress. Today we've got an interesting guest. You got the book. He's going to be joining us momentarily.
Tim Scallion.
Yeah, and I went to Williamsburg a few years back and picked up this book. It was fascinating. Found him on social media. He's been on the show before, and he's going to join us again. Last time, he had some connection issues.
Yeah, I can't wait because there are, let's just say, if you go to Williamsburg, according to this book, there's something looking at you all the time.
Yeah, and all the time. Interesting pictures that he's going to show.
We'll show you
in just a few moments. But we like to bring you incredible content. These things you won't really see anywhere, and you have a knack for finding strange ass videos. This is one of them. This is a video of I don't even know how to describe this because I watched it and I'm like, I've got so many questions.
It's a possessed Elmo balloon. Full body Elmo balloon.
There's so said balloon from behind. Yeah, it's Elmo.
And the mom is filming this. And it's several pieces stitched together, but it just stands there.
Right.
But it does more than that. Like it starts to turn around and in a moment you'll see. But they've had this balloon from what I could gather, a period of time.
Right.
Now,
long enough to post several videos about it, and long enough for some guy to take all the videos, combine them into one, and narrate over it as he's doing with this.
And I found several copies of this.
So it's all over.
So and this apparently happened, I believe, just last week, if I'm not mistaken.
Do you know where?
I do not. They did not say where. It was here in America.
But the balloon keeps drifting towards an area, and at one point, it goes up the stairs.
Yes.
All right.
That's when it gets creepy.
You're wondering, why do these people have a balloon in their house? Like Elmo. Well, they've got a kid, and the balloon somehow looks like it possesses the kid.
Yeah,
because the kid kind of follows the balloon. The mom's the balloon, and the mom's like, "Hey, where are you going? Here's the
up the stairs here."
It goes up the stairs,
and then at the top, wait till you see what happens.
Yeah, but nothing. It just wanders around.
No, the lights go out.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, the lights go out, but it literally looks like it's stepping. Like, that's the creepy part to me. It's not just floating up. It literally looks like it's stepping up. I totally expected it to speak or to lunge. I was waiting for a jump scare.
Yeah, to do something,
But you had to ask the question. They had the balloon for a while.
Yeah, that's
what normally happens to them.
They deflate, And I mean, the balloon's been around the house for a few days, obviously.
The mom said the same thing, that she thought it would deflate, and then that would be the end of it.
There it is. The lights went out.
Yeah, see, the lights went out.
Yeah.
And then right here is... Really, it happens fast, but something very trippy.
Yeah.
At the top of the stairs, it's a little more, but at the top of the stairs, the Elmo balloon turns toward the doorway on the left. And the mom, you'll see her react in a moment because there is something in the doorway that
you can see something with eyes, and they do a close up of it.
It's sideways.
And the dog, obviously, the dog was upset.
Oh yeah, the dogs were barking the whole time. But The balloon didn't deflate like you expect. And
well,
the reason they didn't get rid of it, because you asked me that when I showed this to you, you were like, well, why don't they just get rid of it? The kid won't let them.
The kid likes the balloon.
Yeah,
nothing like having a possessed balloon in your.
I'm sorry, but if my kid loves a possessed balloon, the kid's going to get over it. Like, we're not keeping. Well, I don't understand keeping these things in your home.
I've got so many questions. You know, these balloons usually have a lifespan of maybe 2 days.
Correct.
Maybe. Okay. Yeah. This balloon seems to. Here's what gets me. Start off as a very puffed out balloon. It deflates some, and then at the end of the video, when it goes up the stairs, it's all of a sudden inflated again.
Yeah. So you're suspect.
I'm a little suspect. And so don't get rid of the balloon, but it creeped the mom out. So I'd be like, I'm going to, sorry, the balloon went bye-bye. You can easily get rid of that by,
I don't know,
by accidentally popping it. I don't know.
See, to me, I would think a draft in the house.
And then why are the comments turned off on the video? Because people have questions like me.
Well, because I think people are saying what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, you're crazy. Why don't you get rid of it? But I think I could go with it being staged or a draft in the house or something until it goes up the stairs. That, to me, like, I would have stabbed it at the top.
Yeah. Whoops. Sorry.
Something's happening to Elmo.
Yeah.
And it would be tickling.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now.
If a balloon is creeping me out, possessing my child, I think I'd be getting rid of the balloon.
It's a bizarre thing. And I'm telling you, I saw it on several different people.
It's gone viral.
It's gone viral. It is a bizarre experience, but the mom's not talking other than what's in the video.
Well, she talked enough to put a lot of videos out, and then some dude decided to stitch them all together and make a narrated as well. So that's what you've seen. You can find it on the internet. It's everywhere. Look up Crazy Elmo Balloon. You'll find it. No problem. Okay. Our main guest, Tim Scolion, is going to be joining us in a few moments. He takes pictures in allegedly haunted areas, and he gets some phenomenal results. Faces you can see in these pictures.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, he's going to join us. He's got a couple of books out. He's going to join us next when we return. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
When I grow up, I want to work in a lab to build robots.
From classroom to career, we're with you every step. Register for real-world education at hccs.edu.
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes now. Could spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. I'm going through changes. Through all of the strangeness, I'm going through changes now.
Where's your emergency?
Thanks for joining us on the Road Beyond podcast. Don't forget, you can find us and follow us by simply looking up at The Road Beyond. Our next guest, again, he's written several books. I was looking at this one this last week. It's pretty trippy. And you had mentioned he doesn't just have some paranormal stuff, but something in the sky as well.
Yeah, we talk UAPs all the time, and Tim Scolion is our guest. Here's the books he's the author of, but he also caught a UAP photo, and
I heard this was at a congressional hearing. The expert was asked, how many unresolved UAP incidents do we have? And the person said, is it 300? Is that what the last number I heard? The guy goes, no, now it's over 650 unresolved incidents of UAP. So the number has now doubled.
It's growing.
And
more people got cell phones, and better cell phones. Tim, welcome to the show again. I know you were on 3 years ago. You were on a few months ago, and we had some connection issues. Welcome back to the Road Beyond podcast. Tell us about this UAP picture you took.
Great to be with you all. And that was something I wasn't expecting. I was trying to take a picture of the sunset as I'm flying out of New York City and heading out west. And instead of getting just a sunset, I captured a UAP. Now, I took 3 photos, and the UAP must have been very fast because it only showed up in 2.
Yeah, these are becoming more commonplace because
Yeah.
you're seeing a lot of people posting from their airline photos when they're taking pictures out the window, and we're seeing them a lot more. Tim,
well, wait, were you flying along Jersey at that time?
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious.
Yes.
There
Well,
you go.
yeah.
We
Okay.
had to,
Well,
instead of going straight out to the west, there was a massive storm. And so we had to fly down the East Coast before
Yep.
heading out west.
yeah.
Interesting.
Not like they haven't had some.
I know
sightings
that's
around
that's
there.
why I
Yeah.
had to ask, because everything seems to be happening there. And now,
In
Tim,
Jersey.
you're a part of it too. But your expertise is more in the paranormal, correct?
Correct.
And you have
And
a
it was
way.
something.
Tell us about these photos, because I know we want to show a few of them, but you seem to catch things in pictures other people can't catch. But you also lead tours and you instruct people how to take these types of photos. Tell us how this first started for you.
Well, I was giving tours. Now, at the beginning, it was strictly historical tours of Colonial Williamsburg. And the company that I worked for said, "Hey, would you like to give ghost tours?" And at first I said, "No, I don't believe in them." And after a while, they convinced me. So I took they had a course on what they wanted you to say. So I took the course, I passed it, and I started giving ghost tours. And I saw a woman taking a photo of a building I was describing. And she got a big smile on her face, marched that cell phone right over to me. And she had a full body apparition of a ghost in it. So that got me thinking, being a photographer, if she can do it, I can do it. And so that started my odyssey. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I imagine when you post these things in social media, you get a lot of skepticism. And then you decided, well, I'm going to show people how to do this themselves. You've been able to conduct tours where you instruct people how they can get these type of photos?
Yes, I have. And like you said, that was to combat all the naysayers, because they were saying that I had Photoshop tricks in these photos. And so I've had over 200 people. I have got a small army of witnesses that not only can validate my photos, but they've captured photos of their own. Now, I got to say, not everybody gets them. Some people seem to have the knack for it and others don't.
Did it freak you out when you first got the photo, since you weren't a believer? Did it kind of mess with your head a little bit?
Yes, it did. But I quickly became a believer, and I wanted more.
So what is the tip, unless of course you make a living out of giving these tips? Well, is there a tip or a trick that Todd and I could try?
Well, here's the basic thing that I tell people on my tour is just to turn off the flash, and you will go into an automatic long exposure of 3 seconds on most cell phones. And you can get results that way. But like I said, not everybody gets the results. It seems like certain people have a knack and other people get nothing. I cannot explain that, but let me tell you what a psychic that has since become my friend. I went up and I gave a presentation of my book at his paranormal group, and his name is Rob Gutra, and he's got quite a few books about being a pet psychic on Amazon, if you look him up. And he came up to me as I'm setting up my table for this presentation. This is in Glen Burnie, Maryland. And he said, "I knew who you were as soon as I walked in, and I've got to tell you, the ghosts know who you are and what you're doing too." So perhaps that's an explanation.
Did he say it in a good way? Like, like they know what you're doing and that's good? Or was it like, hey, watch out, they know?
No, this wasn't a warning. This was their show showing up because they're approving of what you're doing.
Well, you know, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I was going to say, it seems like when I've had mediums on this show and psychics on the show, they've said certain people have the gift. Right. They're empathic or telepathic, where they can see these things. They may not want to see them,
right?
But they can see them or receive them, and that may be the trick with which catching these on tape.
Well, it's like Scatman Crothers in The Shining. It's like you got the shine.
You got the shine.
Yeah,
that's exactly.
I think it's whether you're open to it,
whether or not,
otherworldly things, or whether or not you're just shut down.
Some of these photos, some of them you have to look at them like, okay, well, I can tell that's a human. But man, some of these, like this particular one, I think you took this at Shields Tavern. The definition in some of these apparitions are amazing. They have amazing detail. Why is that, you think?
I can't give you a logical explanation for that. All I can tell you is that they are showing up. Now, I do have very expensive equipment. I've modified my equipment, and I also use equipment that can get in both infrared as well as ultraviolet light. Now, that can be some explanation for it. I don't know if it's the full explanation for why I get them in such detail, though.
Why do you seem to get more, or at least in the book I noticed, more faces as opposed to like the shadow people or the full body apparitions?
Well, I believe that windows and mirrors are some sort of conduit.
Yeah.
And they like to show up through both of these conduits. And you have to remember that a ghost is, let's just call it an electromagnetic consciousness. And so therefore it has to have energy to show up.
So are most of these,
I guess the glass is something.
Are any of these intelligent spirits that you're catching, or is it more the residual?
Yeah.
I can't answer that question. I don't go into conversations with these ghosts. I'm out for the photos, but not to meet and conversate with them.
So have any tried to have a conversation with you and you're just like, no, I'm just a photographer?
I've had some people come with me and try to do EVPs, and they've been very successful with that. But as far as me personally interrogating the ghosts, no, I don't do that.
Have you seen an apparition outside of the camera lens?
Yes, I have. And this only happened after I started taking photographs. But I've seen, for example, I just recently saw a woman that was murdered in a house that I was going to purchase. And she showed up it was out of the corner of my eye, but I could describe her perfectly. She had shoulder-length black hair. She had glasses on. And she had a black dress with some white features on it. And she was actually smiling at me.
Okay, that's just creepy.
Yeah. Did you wind up buying the house? Did you buy the house?
Well, I flip houses.
Okay.
I bought the house and then I flipped it, so I didn't live there.
Did you tell them that the house was haunted when you flipped it?
Well, I can't say that it was haunted. It showed up just that one time, and that was it.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
And
that's fair enough.
She was not murdered there. So I guess she was showing up for me, not for anybody else.
Now, you primarily
also have seen animals.
Go ahead.
I've seen a white horse that seems to be fascinated with me and follows me in Colonial Williamsburg. And also several years ago, I had a house fire. This was 2017. And I had several pets, a dog and 2 cats. The dog, I was able to get out. The cats would not come. And the house went up rather quickly. It was a matter of like 3 minutes. And I could not get the cats out. And I have seen one cat since then. And it comes in very faintly, but it looks charred. But it will show up and will sometimes rub my leg.
And you're not curious at all to have? I'm just fascinated that you don't have conversations or try to. I mean, I picture the ghost going, "Yeah, what's up with Tim? Like I'm trying to talk to him, he won't say anything."
Do you think they're trying to communicate with you, or they're just making their presence known?
I believe that they want to be seen more than heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
fair enough.
And I've also been told that if you get into conversations with them, you can have the ghosts decide they're going to attach themselves to you, and I don't want anything like that.
That's something I was going to ask. In taking the pictures, do you still have that concern or have that issue with attachment of the spirit?
No.
Okay.
Only if you establish a relationship with them by speaking with them.
Okay.
Which is why I don't go.
Now, Tim primarily works at Colonial Williamsburg,
right,
and which is very well known, obviously, for the establishment of this country, the Revolutionary War. But there's a vast history in Williamsburg, even being, the city was pretty much rebuilt back in the 20s by the Rockefellers.
Okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong on this, Tim. I'm just going by my history from what I remember. But Williamsburg has had several events in history. They not only had the Revolutionary War connection, but they also had a connection to the Civil War.
I would think so. It's right on the path.
Yeah, the Civil War as well. And you catch some of these images across the segments of time, not just people who have like Revolutionary or colonial era clothing, but you also have pictures of them from what you believe is the Civil War as well.
Yes, that's right. And if you're wondering how I can tell the difference, the 18th century ghosts, which were from the Revolutionary War, the men were clean shaven, often had either a wig or a ponytail, and of course they had the tri-corner hats. And as for the Civil War, by that time, this is the middle 19th century, most of the men in the Civil War, at least from the South, were sporting beards.
Yeah.
And so that's how I'm able to tell the difference between those. And then, of course, as you mentioned, I've also captured ghosts that are from modern times in, for example, blue jeans and T-shirts. And
that's what I was going to ask. I was curious about that. If you did capture like modern, like as in just recent years, or just within the past couple of decades.
Yeah.
I would have to say in the last few decades, considering, for example, I've captured several women in short skirts. And I've also captured a female jogger that was in a halter top and very short shorts. And you know that that doesn't go very far back in history.
No, she would have made a lot of news back in the 17, 1800s.
Exactly.
And it's just crazy. I was just trying to wrap my head around it, but there's so much with the colonial war and then the Civil War.
There's a lot going on.
Just so much tragedy that's happened there. It's not shocking, but yet it is surprising at the same time.
Tim Scolion is our guest. We've got his book right here. You can find him. In fact, we're going to have all your social media and information in our post after the show. Tim, as always, it's fascinating to have you on the show. We appreciate you joining us this afternoon, and we wish you continued success.
Thanks so much.
Thanks,
all right,
Tim.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for being here. Crazy stuff.
We got to try that.
I know.
We need to take a night and go down to Galveston.
You got to be open for it. Open to it.
I am. I told you, I've had a couple of experiences.
You have,
yeah. So I'm open to it.
Yeah.
As long as they don't bother me and follow me home, I'm good.
Right. And so, as mentioned, Tim Scolion will have his information in the post after the show. We've got a couple of cool videos we want to show you in the next segment. Stick around. We're back in 60 seconds.
When I grow up, I want to work in a hospital.
From classroom to career, we're with you every step. Register for real-world education at hccs.edu.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Welcome back to the Road Beyond podcast. Good to have you with us. It's that time of the show
It
that you've
is.
grown to know and love.
Time for bare necessities, which has become just a theme for us now. And this one is we are all as children fascinated with balloons.
Yeah,
and apparently bears are
Bears
too.
are as well. Take a look at this.
Yeah, take a look.
Bear going, looks like the bear was with a parent bear. Don't know if it's possibly the mother, but the smaller bear crossing the road. And then all of a sudden, there's a balloon.
I don't know what the balloon is doing there because
where did the balloon come from? Right. I have so many questions for this video too. I don't know why balloons keep showing up in the show, but this bear decided he's not going to cross the road. He's going to stick around and play with the balloon for a while.
It's literally like a children's book happening in real life.
And then the mom's going to come back and say, no, let's cross the road and get the heck out of here. But there's your bare necessity of the week video. Very cute video. This next one just goes to show you that so many people have too much time on their hands. This is what they do. Look at this. It is cooking, but it's all crocheted.
It's crocheted. And
this is like a trend, right?
Yes. I found several of these videos. Everything you're seeing is crocheted except for the person's hand.
Yeah.
And the time it must have taken,
because it's a stop motion.
Yeah. So they literally have to, I guess, storyboard it and then think of every little detail. I mean, down to the drink and the smoke from the heat of the cup. That is just like,
once again,
get outside, people. Could this do something?
I'm betting maybe this is one of these employees that was laid off. Before they were laid off, there was a side gig they were doing.
Too much time on their hands. But it is fascinating, and like I was telling you on the break, it's that what fascinates people fascinates me.
Right, and that's one
of them.
Folks, we are quickly out of time. Next week, we're off for spring break. We'll be back on, I believe, on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So
O'Brien of the last name. I'll be ready for it.
Yeah. So I'm Todd Duplantis.
I'm Doug O'Brien. Make sure you follow us at the Road Beyond podcast.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.